Over the years, a lot of people have mentioned LeBron James and Rajon Rondo as some of the smartest players ever. But what happens when you put two of the greatest minds on the same team? Well, you get two guys that were able to coach the Lakers offense to a title. When you look at the 2020 Lakers roster, they didn't have many offensively focused players on paper. LeBron and AD were quite the duo, but there wasn't that much outside of those two stars. The Lakers also only shot the three at 35%, which was 23rd in the league, but not only did the Lakers win the title, they actually had the second best offense in the playoffs. What was most fascinating about their run was that their offense really ran set plays. In fact, a lot of their offense looked really straightforward with AD in the paint and three other role players on the perimeter. But what made this offense special was how Rondo and LeBron would position their teammates and set them up for great shots. For example, LeBron runs pick and roll to get a switch. He then tells AD to push towards the corner and for Markieff Morris to move to the other side. Now you might think that doesn't make sense because there's three guys just crowded next to each other. But because LeBron has a mismatch, Covington needs to help, which leaves a 3-on-2 on this side. And watch what happens. As LeBron drives, Gordon has to help. Danny Green then screens Harden so he can't recover to Markieff Morris, and now he has a wide open shot. While the Lakers didn't shoot the ball that well, their biggest advantage was their size. Because of this, other teams often had to bring multiple defenders to add more support. In theory, that shouldn't be an issue because the Lakers typically played at least one non-shooter on the floor, but LeBron and Rondo continue to find space to open up those gaps. Here we see that same exact matchup with Westbrook on LeBron and Covington pushing himself up to help. Now, Rondo and Caruso are not shooters, but notice how they both come to screen their matchups to open up these corner shots. LeBron sees an opening on the right side, and with Rondo holding his matchup, he now has an easy layup at the rim. This one is for Anthony Davis. As Rondo sees the mismatch, he tells Markieff Morris and Danny Green to clear out to the other side, so with Davis posting up, Rondo then tells Green to cut, and even though he misses, AD's now open to clean that up. Because Rondo and LeBron tend to run the offense, Frank Vogel always made sure that one of those guys were on the floor. Yes, Rondo was often paired with AD, but the reality was that the Lakers' offense was a lot smoother when they had either guy managing the offense. But while Rondo didn't start games, Frank Vogel made sure to keep him in the closing minutes of any close game. On paper, it doesn't seem necessary with LeBron on the floor, but the Lakers actually played a lot better when both were out there together. And the reason is that they could improvise and never really had to communicate to understand what each guy was trying to do. For example, the Lakers are on 5 out, and Caruso clears to the opposite corner to give more space for LeBron. And Rondo, who was in the corner, comes up to the wing to screen Iguodala, who's trying to help on LeBron. So LeBron's going to turn his body to make it seem like he's passing it to AD. That then makes Jimmy Butler react, Rondo then cuts, and LeBron finds him for an easy layup. Not only do they both have great basketball minds, having Rondo, who was only 6'1", gave LeBron a lot of good opportunities to play off each other. With a few seconds left in the first quarter, Rondo and LeBron both tell Caruso to move to the corner, and that allows Rondo to fill that slot on the wing. With Rivers helping on LeBron, Rondo's in an open spot and knocks down the jumper. Even though they only played a season up to this point, they always sensed what each other needed. When LeBron backs up, Rondo knows he wants a screen, and LeBron's able to get downhill and find Kuzma for an open shot. Because Rondo would often set these screens, a lot of teams would put their two best defenders on both of them. So on this one, Iguodala's on Rondo and Butler's on LeBron, but Rondo still wants that pick and roll. With Butler on Rondo, this seems like a lost cause, but LeBron gets behind Iguodala so he can hold him, and that now opens up this driving lane for Rondo. Now, on JJ Redick's podcast, Rondo had talked about how he and LeBron would scheme up against different coaches in the bubble, and it's hard to tell which offensive possessions were totally schemed up by them. However, one particular thing that stood out was how they strategized against Eric Spoelstra's zone in the finals. For people that don't remember, Spo had really brought the zone back into relevance during the 2020 season. At the time, a lot of teams weren't sure if you could play zone because it could be prone to wide open threes. But what made Spo's zone more unique was how each player moved in it. Even though they were positioned in specific spots, they can move freely depending on where the pass was going. What made Spo's zone so hard on the Celtics was how they positioned their two best defenders up high to help protect the weaker defenders that were put in the corners. And Brad Stevens and the Celtics never really figured out a consistent way to beat it. But once they got to the finals, Rondo and LeBron figured out the zone by positioning each guy into specific spots, and then they would figure out the soft spots to attack. On this one, Rondo's taking charge, and he tells AD to come up and Kuzma to shift to the corner. On the pick and roll, once Rondo gets the ball back, LeBron's going to start creeping down into the paint. So on the pass back to Caruso, Hero thinks that he can move up to the wing, but LeBron shifts back to the baseline to get the ball, and now that forces Olynyk to shift up to LeBron. Because of that, AD now has a clear mismatch with none, and he's able to push him out of the way for an easy dunk. Next possession, LeBron's in the middle of the zone and tells Rondo to swing it to Caruso, but Rondo's got a better idea. He fakes the pass to the wing, which moves Iggy enough, and now he throws it to LeBron, who then finds AD for another slam. What was quite apparent about their offense was that Rondo or LeBron would typically be in the middle of the zone. Besides being the point guard up top, the guy in the middle has the most decision-making power. So by putting one of those two in the middle, this really forced the defense to collapse, which then opened up great shots. With one guy in the middle, the other would usually be up top to find ways to get the ball to the middle, and this one's just too easy. So on the next possession, the Heat put three guys around LeBron, so Rondo tells KCP to move to the corner so that he himself can now slide to the wing. This then creates a 2-on-1 on the backside, and Rondo rewards KCP with a wide open three. Speaking of KCP, he had described how Rondo and LeBron would tell him exactly what he needed to do and where he needed to be on every possession. And it was to the point where if you didn't understand, then you just weren't paying attention. The reason I mention this is because there were plenty of times where LeBron and Rondo would position him in games, and he would then be rewarded with wide open shots. This is what it really means to put players in the right positions to succeed. As you saw throughout this video, Rondo or LeBron would tell their teammates where they needed to be because they've already imagined how that guy is eventually gonna get the ball. And this is why the Lakers offense, despite not having the most offensively gifted roster, was so dominant in the bubble. They were one of the biggest teams in the league, and because of that, they knew a lot of teams were going to send multiple defenders to LeBron or AD, and instead of just standing there, Rondo and LeBron showed their teammates how to be the most useful. When you put all that together, the Lakers ended up winning the championship in relatively easy fashion. Yes, you could say what you want about their opponents or that it was in the bubble, but just basketball-wise, having LeBron and Rondo on the floor gave them the opportunities to design the offense by focusing on positioning instead of trying to come up with creative offensive sets. And that's why having two basketball geniuses on the floor is such a unique advantage that helped the Lakers win their 17th title. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please feel free to like and subscribe. Appreciate your guys' support, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.